Hola. Welcome to Just Listen to Yourself with me, Kiradavis, on the FCB Radio Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are already at show number 4, and let me tell you, the first 3 shows have been outstanding. The feedback has been amazing. People are so excited about this format. People are so excited about this show. And so, to reciprocate that, I want to share with you guys some really exciting news on my part. We are now available to listen on 5, count them, 5 platforms. Not just 1, not just 2, 5. So you can just listen to yourself on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Premium, or Google Play. That's 5. Actually, no, that's 6 because I forgot TuneIn Radio. That's right. My producer contacted me last night, said we just got on TuneIn Radio. Guys, there's no excuse to not be listening to this show. You can hear it anywhere. You can listen anywhere. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I am so blessed by the response to the show, and I think what people are responding to is the idea of me taking some thoughts or an idea, something that permeates the public square, and really drawing it out to its logical end and really challenging people to think about the things they're saying instead of just saying things that, and we all do it. I'm not blaming you. We all do it. I do it too. But saying things that sound good, but we're not really thinking about what we're really saying. And I love the opportunity to persuade people. My job is in politics. I'm the editor at large at redstate.com. I do a lot of commentary. I fall on the conservative side, so I'm pretty, I guess fairly right of center. We would say these days. I don't even know, like all the labels are so skewed and mixed up. I'm afraid to take the wrong one because then all of a sudden you're a Nazi, right? So I just want people to give me a chance to persuade them without the labels. But if you want to know what I do, that's what I do. But I don't do it because first of all, you don't really make a lot of money doing it. It seems like there's probably a lot of money floating around because there's an entertainment side to that business, but it's very hard to make money doing this job. But I don't do it for that. I'm an artist at heart. And that's really what I like to do is create. But what I also love to do is persuade. I love to debate. I love ideas. Ever since I was a kid, I have always loved ideas. Like I can remember reading my mom. My mom was a voracious reader to this day. I mean, we're talking 10 to 12 books a week. I kid you not, novels. And our house was full of books, and we lived in a rural area, and I didn't have a lot of opportunity to you get it. You remember before the internet, we had to entertain ourselves. So I read a lot of books. And I read great books like Tolstoy. I read the encyclopedia. We always had encyclopedias in the house. Everybody did. I read the classics. I read modern true crime. That was a big thing for me to this day. I'm a true crime fanatic because I read Helter Skelter when I was 12. The story of the Manson murders. My mom had brought that book home from the library, and it was. I wish I had never read it. I mean, it had pictures in it, and the pictures to this day haunt me. But also to this day, I am obsessed with true crime and also horror movies. I don't know. My mom may have scarred me for life, but I love information, and I love ideas, and I love debating ideas. And I like to be able to walk away from that debate knowing that I respect my debate partner and vice versa. So the idea of us going to war, I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable, even though a lot of people think that I'm argumentative. I'm not afraid to stand up for myself, that's for sure. But the truth is I don't care to argue. I care to debate. And I love going away from a good persuasive debate knowing that there's a sense of mutual respect there. So even though this is a podcast and we can't have our physical back and forth, dear listener, just know that I respect you, even just for hitting play on that podcast and giving me a chance to persuade you. So we've talked about a number of controversial issues. We're going to keep on talking about controversial issues. Today I wanted to talk about abortion. And I think this is probably going to be a 2-parter because I don't like to go too long in these podcasts, and I do tend to get long-winded. I really don't like to go that much past 30 minutes. So but there's so many angles to pick from here in this abortion issue that I think probably what I will do is stop when I feel comfortable today and record again a second episode for next week. So we'll do that. Let's talk about abortion. So let's talk about why it's important to really think about what we're saying when we talk about abortion, what abortion means. Let's talk about what abortion means. Abortion is the forced removal of a fetus from the womb of a mother. That's abortion. Of a healthy fetus, generally. I am pro-life, so probably you've already guessed this from my comments this podcast and from earlier podcasts. I am pro-life. I was not always pro-life. I became a Christian when I was 14, and I became pro-life, but just because my pastor said to, I didn't know. I was like, yeah, well, the Lord has plans for you, so pro-life. That's all I knew. When I was in college, a girlfriend of mine, not a roommate, but we lived in the same housing unit in college. She was raped and got pregnant over a spring break one year. And I can remember her roommate, who was a really good friend of mine, saying, I don't believe in abortion, but I can't tell her to not get this abortion, and I'm going to take her. I'm going to help her. I'm going to go with her, go to the clinic. I'm going to support her. So they did that, and I remember saying to myself, I can't tell her that either. How can I tell her to keep this baby? And it's like the most horrible situation that you could think of, because it wasn't a stranger that raped her. It was a family member. So, it's just like super complicated, right? So I held on to that for a long time. I did the whole, I'm pro-choice, but also pro-life. And people still do that. But I changed my mind. I don't believe that is a tenable, logical position, to be pro-choice and pro-life. I'll tell you when I changed my mind, and then I'll tell you why I don't think you can hold those two positions. I got pregnant. I got married first, and then my husband and I planned a baby, and then we got pregnant. And the first ultrasound was a little bit before 12 weeks, and I probably wasn't even showing at that time. And I went to get that ultrasound, sonogram, whatever you call it, and he was sucking his thumb just at 12 weeks. Barely has thumbs at that age, at that state of development. And I was looking at it, and I was like, I didn't know it was a boy, but I was like, is it sucking its thumb? And the technician said, yeah, that's pretty common. Scientists feel like it's a soothing technique that starts very early. So it's kind of like self-soothing right there in the womb. And she said, you'll notice it as we go along. Like, it won't be that uncommon to see your baby sucking their thumb in the picture. It happens a lot. Well, I was shocked. And I remember getting in the car and telling my husband, like, we could go and get rid of this baby right now if we decided to, and no one would ask a question. We could literally make an appointment down at Planned Parenthood and get this baby scraped out of me today. And he was sucking his thumb. This baby was sucking its thumb. So it was the first moment that baby had become a human to me. And that's when I realized, oh, I can't be pro-choice and pro-life at the same time. Because here's the thing. Listen to what you're saying. Just listen to yourself on this issue. I know a lot of really good and well-meaning people and kind, loving Christian people who believe that it is not the government's place to legislate abortion issues. So I'm not judging your faith or your character if this is what you think. But I am going to challenge you to draw that out to this logical conclusion. The problem we have when we talk about abortion is always, where does life begin? If you can't start with that very issue, then you cannot talk about abortion. This is why it's such a contentious issue in our society right now. This is one reason why. And it's not because, oh, some people are far right and some people are far left. No, it's because we never actually really have an open and honest discussion about what abortion is. We never really start with the basics. So we're all arguing stuff like semantics and details and symptoms, but we're not even like starting with the nuts and bolts. Where does life start? Where is life? So we're always arguing because none of us are really starting from a base. I think a lot of us, if we would start from that base, we wouldn't even engage in the argument. We wouldn't even engage in it. We would just be like, let's let the law do its job, or let's let the voters do their job. Because at the very base of this argument is, where does life begin? So pro-lifers like me believe life begins at the moment of conception. And people who are against, I'll say pro-abortion, you're not really against life, but pro-abortion, people who are pro-abortion, believe that life starts later. And then that's really, it's also one of the things that weakens that position is that it's so arbitrary. If you ask a pro-choicer when life starts, it's arbitrary. You'll get, well, 12 weeks is when such and such, there's a heartbeat. Well, life starts at such and such months, when there's the ability to swallow or something like that, or when the brain has fully developed or the eyes have come in, or, oh, well, you know what? It's birth. It's when the child takes its first breath of oxygen that makes it a baby. When it's left the birth canal, that's what makes it a baby. Until then, it's just a fetus. You can find all kinds of wide-ranging opinions on where life starts, but pro-lifers only think life starts one place, and that's at conception. And the reason we think that is because we know biology and we've been taught science since we started school, right? And we learned that any living thing is when cells divide. If cells are dividing, that thing is alive. So the question of life beginning at conception, I think is pretty clear. I think it's definitely that there's life. Now, do you think that life is valuable enough to save? All right, that's a different question. That's a different question. So if you want to talk about this abortion issue, you need to decide where life starts for you. And if it starts at conception, which scientifically speaking, there is no way to, there's no other way to look at it. I mean, if we found a single cell organism on Mars, we'd be like, we found life on Mars. You know what I mean? That's a cliche. You'll see a lot of memes going around about that on the pro-lifer side, but it's true. It's cliche for a reason. It's true. If a cell is dividing, it's alive. If a plant cell divides and it's alive, it's growing, so we put a seed in dirt and we put water on it, and when it starts to sprout, it's alive, it's growing. It's not a plant. It's not a potato yet, but it will be. And it can't be unless it's that seed first. And that's the thing about life. It's like, okay, sure, the growth of life starts at conception, but when does the value of life start? And to me, the value of life has to start also at the moment of conception, because we know what it's going to be. This is going to be a person. There's literally not one person on the face of the planet who hasn't started out as this little sperm meeting this little egg. We are all that. That's what life is. That's what the life is. This chemical eruption, connection, disruption, that's what life is. And it's going to be you. It's going to be me. It's going to be your brother, your mother, your sister, your father, your grandmother. This leads into another argument about the value of life. The value of life. But just to get back to what you're saying about I'm pro-choice, but I am also pro-life. Well, okay, as I've just pointed out, we have to decide where that life starts. Please understand that pro-lifers like me are saying this is a life. So this is a baby. It doesn't look like the baby you get at 9 months, just like your child doesn't look the same at 3 years old as she does at 16 years old. Like this is still a person. It's only a different stage of growth for a person. And we should not be discriminating against that person based on what they look like. And so for me, if life starts at the moment of conception, which of course it does, we've already established the science of that. Now it might be up to you, pro-choicers, as to where the value of that life starts, right? I don't really think it can be argued that life starts at conception. It's some kind of life. You're arguing, right, where the value of that life starts. And to my mind, that's not a decision you can make, or I can make, or any of us can make. But I also would say that when you're talking about life, you're talking about ending life versus supporting life, right? So a pro-lifer is saying this is a life. A life is a life. A life is a life. What does Horton Hears a Who say? A life is a life, no matter how small. I love that book. And so when pro-lifers and pro-abortion people talk passionately or argue about this really controversial issue, you have to understand, let's break it down all the way to the bottom of what the argument is. What is life? Is this alive or is it not? And if it is life, then we have laws to protect life. We value life in this society, in Western society at the least. I'll just speak for us. I can't speak for other cultures too much, but we value life as a society. I mean, we love living. Those of us who are alive, keep doing stuff to stay alive. So there's something in us that values life, and we value it so much that we make laws to preserve it. That goes, of course, all the way back to the biblical days. All that is Judeo-Christian values foundations right there. The idea that it is wrong to take the life of another. Okay, so if it's wrong to take the life of another, and I believe that life starts at conception, then I must, to be intellectually honest, I must believe that it is wrong to end that life at any stage. So pro-abortion people, understand that you think that your pro-life friends are being intolerant, but they're not. Your pro-life friends are saying to you, I would never say that a 3-year-old child is no longer welcome in this world because her mom can't afford to take care of her. Oh, and so we should kill that child. Why would I say it for a 3-month-old child in the womb? So you can understand why we get heated, why it feels like we're intolerant. But when you break it down to the very bottom basic of the issue, if we're talking about life, you either believe it's okay to end a life or it's not okay to end a life. And the pro-lifers are saying it's not okay to end a life, whether it's 3 months in the womb or 3 months outside of the womb. It's not okay to end that life. It's not okay. It's not okay to murder people. Now that brings me to another point. Because in the past, the pro-life movement has gotten into a little trouble for characterizing abortion as murder. And believe me, there are murderous abortionists out there. There are people out there who do the job because it brings them pleasure. We can look at Kermit Gosnell, who is serving life sentence for serial murder. He ran a horrifying abortion clinic out of Atlanta, I think, or Pennsylvania. Delivered babies alive and killed them on the table. Killed moms on the table. Either directly or indirectly, just denying them care. He was a serial killer. He joined the abortion career track because it afforded him a way to kill people legally. So there are people out there who are in the abortion game who are outright murderers. But this idea that a mom who has had an abortion, I think we have to be very careful about how we classify that. Because I do not believe for 1 second that the majority of women go into an abortion clinic thinking they're murdering their baby, which is why seeing sonograms and ultrasounds before you make the decision to abort are so effective. So the pro-abortion crowd is often getting angry when pro-lifers manage to get legislation passed to require a mother to see a sonogram before she aborts the baby. But the reason that they don't like it is because it works. Because when you see the baby, you're like, oh shit, that thing's alive. That's a person. Like at 12 weeks when you're not even showing, and when it would be so easy to go in and just get the scrape and go. What happens is you see that picture and you're like, oh, holy shit, this is a whole person. They're just too small for me to hold in my arms right now. So it is effective for a good reason, because it triggers the natural sensibilities of a mother. And when a woman who doesn't understand what abortion really is, what it's really doing when she gets the abortion, there's all kinds of statistics out there to say, that she carries a lot of mental health scars from that. And there are a lot of women who have had abortions. In fact, let's just get away from the statistics. Just ask your friends who have had them. They'll tell you that they've had emotional impacts and they felt not free to talk about them because they didn't want to come off as like, I'm anti-abortion, But also, I'm feeling so much pain and I don't know why. I thought this process was going to get rid of a problem, and instead I'm feeling so much pain. That's because the act of abortion actively thwarts a mother's natural sensibilities. We are hardwired to bring forth life. Literally, biologically, women are hardwired to bring forth life. And when a woman ends that life intentionally, early, inside her own womb, her body tells her what her mind won't tell her, which is there's supposed to be a life in here. It's biology, it's psychology, it's evolution. Like, you cannot get away from that. You can pass all the laws you want and do all the marches and have all the, shout out your abortion, but you can't change the reality of what your body tells you as a woman. But it's not fair to call a woman who walks into an abortion clinic a murderer. That's not what she's thinking. Women don't go. Again, there are probably women who do know that it's a baby and just don't care. They just don't want the baby. I get that. Like, statistically speaking, I'm sure they're out there. I'm generalizing, obviously. But women don't go to the clinic and say, I can't wait to murder my baby today. They're not murderers. They've been lied to a lot of times by doctors who want to minimize exactly what it is they're carrying, which is a life that's going to be somebody. But I do want to make sure that everybody knows that the issue with abortion from the pro-life side isn't condemnation. It's salvation for the baby, right? Just to save your baby, to save a life. And anybody who is going to call a woman a murderer for getting an abortion, I don't think you're helping. You're certainly not helping her. Are you helping her change her mind? Are you convincing her that she's doing the wrong thing? I mean, I think the pro-life movement is becoming more and more sensitive to these things these days. And there's a lot of great groups out there who do really good and compassionate work. So it's probably a little less now than it used to be as far as how much it happens. But, from time to time, you might hear people say that. And I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Like, a woman who goes to an abortion clinic is desperate, not evil. And we'll save this for a little bit down the road on the next episode about why a woman would want to get an abortion and how we address those issues. But just to get back to the basic points here, life is life. The reason why this issue is so contentious is we cannot talk about it until we both agree what life is. And if you're a pro-choicer and you think life starts when the mom says life has started, or at 12 weeks, or at 6 months, or whenever you think it is, then you're not arguing the same thing as the pro-lifer who's saying life starts at conception. You're saying this life doesn't have any rights, and we're saying this life absolutely has rights. And those rights deserve to be protected because this is a voiceless person in our society. And we are tasked with protecting the voiceless. Now, you might want to say, but Kira, it's a woman's body. I feel you. I get it. I get that life is precious. And I believe every child should be born. I believe it's a baby. But I can't, in good conscience, support a law that would prevent a woman who is in desperate need from getting an abortion. Like your friend, Kira, who had that horrific experience. Would you expect her to carry that child? Would you expect her to carry that shame, that abuse, and then what, raise a child or give it up? You know? I don't want to legislate another woman's body. That's not where the government belongs. That's not where the government belongs. But you don't really believe that. Just listen to yourself. You don't really believe that. Do you think the government should regulate cigarettes? Where you can smoke cigarettes? How you can buy cigarettes? Should you be able to buy cigarettes anywhere? Or should you only be able to buy cigarettes if they're behind the counter, if you're a certain age, you smoke them 10 feet from the front door of a building, whatever the laws are. I bet most of you are in favor of those kind of laws because they have to do with the body and the things that go into the body and the things that go out of the body. Well, Kira, smoking laws are different because it's your body, but your smoking affects my body. Yeah, same with abortion. It's your body, but what you do with that body affects all the rest of us. Because to date, we're missing 60 million people in the United States based on abortion, based on what we know of the abortion numbers. 60 million, at least 60 million. A large portion of those children are black children. I'm going to get to that, by the way, why black people should be against abortion and Planned Parenthoods staking out in their communities. But I will get to that next episode because we are quickly running out of time. But we're missing 60 million people. That's 60 million potential taxpayers. So every time you see about how Social Security is about to die, every time you see about how we don't have enough teachers in these areas, we don't have enough doctors in these areas, we don't have enough taxpayers to fund this, that, the other. Think about all the people that we have not allowed to live to fill those positions. So, that's yeah, your abortion does affect us, the rest of us. It happens. Would you think the government forces you to wear a seatbelt? The government has laws on drinking, on smoking marijuana, on doing drugs. The government tells you that you can't go get a tattoo unless it's from a licensed artist. You can't go to, I don't know, a doctor or anybody who's not licensed by the government. The government tells you all the time what to do with your body. All the time. What the government is not supposed to do is allow you to dictate what someone else is supposed to do with their body. And so I get it that you say, okay, well, I'm pro-life, but I can't let the government let a woman decide. I can't be for a government dictating what a woman should do with her own body. But you approve of that all the time. You approve of it all the time. If you live in Canada, you certainly approve of that because the government owns your healthcare. When the government owns your healthcare, they own you because they can tell you to do or not do anything. Think of all the laws that have been passed in Canada this year alone, let alone the last decade. Everything's a safety issue, right? Well, you know what? We can't let people do this. We can't let people wear scarves on the playground in the middle of winter in case they choke. We can't. And every justification is, well, we pay for the healthcare. So if this is going to be a problem, then we've got to regulate it. All right. So the government's regulating what you do with your body all the time. I don't think that's a logical argument. I just think that's a talking point. And also, again, here we go again. Listen to what you're saying. You're saying the government can't control what a woman does with her body. And pro-lifers are saying, yes, you're absolutely right. But what about the body inside her? Well, Kira, it's still her body. She's the one who has to carry the baby. It's not fair. Well, no, it's not. I carried 2 babies. It's not fair. It's not fair that my body had to be all stretched out and grotesque while my husband just gets to keep on being a hottie for the rest of his life. No, it's not fair. But it is biology. It is evolution or God, whatever you want to name it. It's all of those things can apply. If you just simply believe in evolution, this is the way that Mother Nature has chosen to deliver human life into society through the womb of the mother. What could be more regal? We are so powerful. We are the life givers and the life bringers. And listen to us arguing over who should be forced to carry a life. The greatest gift a woman could have, the most powerful thing a woman could have. It's almost demonic, isn't it? We can sit here and argue about whether or not it's a privilege to carry life. It's almost like someone doesn't want us to be bringing forth life. Oh, I just took it to church. I'm sorry. Some of y'all out there might be like, what? I just took it to church. That's fine. Don't worry about it. But what about that baby's body? Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. It just is the way it is. I don't make the rules. Gravity sucks sometimes. Believe me, I live in Southern California. Wouldn't you think I would love to just defy gravity and take off over LA traffic every once in a while? Hell yes. But gravity is a law of nature, and so is pregnancy. And we are helpless against the laws of nature. I think we all agree on that. And so the question becomes, does the woman have autonomy over the child that's in her womb? Just because it's her womb that the child is using. And I say no. And I think that's a logical position, that it might not be fair. And if you want to get technical about it, it isn't unlike renting a house. I rent my house here in Southern California, and my landlord is the owner of the house, and there's some things he can do. He can fix things up or not fix things up. He can deny me certain things that we need. I need a new garbage disposal, or he might just be like, I'm not going to pay for that, but he doesn't have autonomy in this house. We are individual citizens. We are taxpayers and we're rent payers. So we have certain rights that are endowed to us. We have our God-given constitutional rights. Like, he can't come in here and tell us we need to, become slaves again. He's not allowed to do that. It's against the Constitution. So if you could compare it that way, the baby is like the renter in your room, in your womb, in a way. And no, like, there are certain things you can and can't do. You can make those decisions. But what you can't do is usurp the baby's constitutional rights, the person inside you, their constitutional rights, because you don't like them living where they're living. So I just want to challenge you to listen to yourself when you're saying, I'm pro-choice, but I'm pro-life. But you can't, I just really don't think, intellectually speaking, you can hold that position. Because what you're saying is, I believe that life starts at conception, but I also believe it's okay to kill that life. We have murder laws on the books because we say it's not okay to kill other people, but why doesn't that apply to a baby in the womb? And I think we've already established, or at least I have established, I hope I persuaded you, that baby is its own person, its own body. Yes, a woman has autonomy over her body, but not anyone else's. And I'm sorry that it's the female womb that has been tasked with housing and growing bodies. But that's not a curse. Sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes bad things happen to us and we get abused. We get misused. Because people are always going to misuse power. People are always going to abuse power. And we have power in our wombs. So yeah, there's going to be people who exploit that and try to destroy it. But the fact is that it's a privilege. We treat it like it's a disease in modern Western society, like it's a curse. But pro-lifers and pro-choicers have fundamentally different views of when life starts. And I just don't think you can be pro-life but pro-choice. I don't think that's an intellectually honest position. If life starts at conception, then that's where you start protecting it. All right, we've already gone. I mean, I could go another hour on this issue. I could. And I want to talk about, you know what? I'm coming back. Next week, we're going to circle back around. I'm going to give you more arguments for this. So don't panic. Don't get all up, send me hate messages. I'm going to finish this conversation next week, or I don't know, I might not even get finished next week. Maybe we'll do a 3-parter. This will definitely be a 2-parter. So today I want to thank you for hanging in. Next week I want to talk about the issue of what happens to an unwanted child after they're born, and I want to address a couple more arguments that pro-choicers have, which is you only care about the baby before they're born, and what about the life of the child after they're born, and the idea that a woman shouldn't be forced to carry a punishment. So if she's been raped, if she's had some traumatic experience, she shouldn't be forced, she shouldn't be punished with a child. I will address all of those questions and issues and talking points next week. For now, please don't forget to like us on all the social media platforms. Check us out on iTunes and Stitcher Premium, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, all those options. Leave me a review, please, 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 and share. You do me so well when you share. It's such a blessing to know that people are out there listening and at least having their interest piqued. You can follow me on Twitter at realkiradavis and find me on Facebook at the same place at realkiradavis. Thank you to our home on FCB Radio Network. I will see you all next week. Until then, take some time to just stop and listen to yourself every once in a while. Bye.